How's it going, true believers? It is I, Shane, and I'm here to give you another X-Men 97 episode review. Today's episode, in two halves, is Motendo and Lifedeath Part 1. Before I go any further, please hit that like button. It really does help. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of more reviews just like this. If you want to support me even further, go ahead and take a look at my Patreon in the link in the description below. This episode, some say this reminds them of like old cartoons because there's two different parts. One furthering another plot and the other one furthering a plot but going deeper in. I didn't really see it that way. I know when I think of like old cartoons. So on Tubi, they're actually showing a show that I didn't think would ever be shown shown on streaming. Period. Mr. Bumpy. Mr. Bumpy is 15 minutes, sometimes 11-minute episodes. Kind of for my anime watchers, panty and stocking. Remember, every single episode has 2 episodes inside of it. So this is how this one is split up, and I kind of like this. Like, you get half of an episode to explore a fun thing, to show a relationship between two characters, to further the development and personality of another character, and then you go into something that you know, because we know we're going to get life death. I think it's part 2 and 3. It's a major storyline for Storm. So let's talk about Motendo. Actually, let's talk about some Easter eggs first, because there is some really good stuff here. So as always, I always start with the intro. The intro is previously on X-Men. It's with Jubilee's voice. I can't do a Jubilee impression. Where am I at? During that intro, I love how they will hint at what is going to be a factor in the episode. So you get Jubilee and Longshot versus Mojo. Wink. We see Polaris, Havoc, and Iceman. Wink again. We got a little bit of a battle between Emma and Charles Xavier during the Hellfire Club thing. What else is in there? There's a Sentinel in the middle. You know, when the heroes and then the villains are running together with the before they clash. In the center is a Sentinel, and then they clash. I did not notice that the first time around. Don't know if that is pertinent, but I love eye catches, because I'm watching the intro and I'm pausing every single part, going, what is that? What is that? What is that? Oh, that's cool. Man, it's before. So Motendo. It sounds like Mojo and Nintendo, right? Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's a Jubilee and Roberto. Eventually I gotta call him Sunspot, but Julie, I'm gonna call him Robbie. Julie and Robbie going on an adventure. It's her 18th birthday. Dang, there's something really interesting that happened right before this. I'm gonna get to it. Should I get to it? I'm gonna get to it later. Because it's funny about what happened. But it's her 18th birthday. She wants to go to arcade. Magneto, no. First of all, every X-Men that does an impression of Magneto, sans Morph, because Morph can turn into Magneto. They do a really good job. Speaking in his tone and inflection. really good job, Jubilee. But sits here is this Motendo, which is literally an amalgamation of the Sega Master System and a Super Nintendo. Well, not the Super Nintendo system. It's actually just the NES system. I recognize the toggles from the Sega Master System. The color scheme, red and black. The controllers are literally Sega Genesis controllers. Brilliant. And the X-Men cart in there, I wish I actually had my cart to show you guys. I wish I had my Genesis cart in this room to show you. I didn't think about it until right now, but it's literally the X-Men Genesis game. The one where literally you start off, don't know what's going on. You just get plopped in there. I think Mojo is actually the basis of this game. I think. Yeah, he is actually, because there's a room with television screens. Yeah. You can play Storm, Wolverine, Cyclops. I know Angel and Iceman are in there. I don't know if you can call them in, but Psylocke is in there too. But yeah, that card is in there. That was I was just so much Easter eggs. And this first part alone is amazing. The name of the game is called The Rise of Jubilee, which is X-Men The Rise of Jubilee, which is also funny because we have the X-Men Welcome to Die versions of Magneto from the X-Men arcade game. You know, the one based on the 80s X-Men with brown suit Wolverine, Colossus, Dazzler. It's Pride of the X-Men, essentially, that show or episode that I don't know if a lot of people remember, but yes. Nightcrawler's in there too. Nightcrawler, Colossus, Dazzler. I feel like I'm missing some characters in there, but essentially that is what this is. Now we do see that there's supposed to be 6 playable characters. One of them is blacked out. I'm starting to think that was possibly Dazzler because Mojo does mention, well, we wanted to get Dazzler, but she had a thing. Probably tried to get Dazzler, and Dazzler fought her way out with the help of Longshot, which there's a Longshot plushie in her room next to the Motendo. I also said Motendo games. I was going to say 1997 Motendo games, just like all of our old 8-bit, 16-bit, not 8-bit, 16-bit games. The characters on the select screen. Someone loves Colossus and Magic because they are there. I wrote this down. Roberto, obviously. Jubilee, obviously. Longshot, I said there was something missing. I love that Longshot is plastered all over this episode. Thank you for giving him a shout out. Crazy though, someone likes Magic and Colossus. And since Magic had her own voice actor when Morph turned into her, please let her show up. They've literally confirmed season 3 earlier today. Please let her show up. If not, towards the middle of season 2. You already got Roberto. There's obviously going to be more New Mutants, right? Can we get Danny Moonstar? Oh, can we get Mirage? Oh, that's going to be cool if we do. So, what's some other stuff here? There's a beat 'em up style game, 16-bit. I love it. You know, with the Shredder's Revenge TMNT game, that's literally, it's a new game, but it's based on those old beat 'em up Turtles games. Streets of Rage. What is another one that's out? Double Dragon. I pray. I don't care if this is corporate shilling. I don't care if this is corporate synergy. Please tell me, Marvel Games, that you are making the 6-bit Rise of whatever based on X-Men 97. Tell me you're doing that. Jubilee even does a super move. And when you see her in 16-bit fighting the Sentinels on the street, there's also a Days of Future Past reference in the first level that has all of the faces. I can't make out who's on the face because it's, a 16-bit. It's pixel. Wasn't gonna take the time to try to match colors. I don't have that kind of time. But cool ass shout out. All these levels are coming from her memories. So there's, if I can go down the line here, there is Genosha before the way it is right now. There's the Savage Land. In the Savage Land level, they fight Sauron. For those of you who don't know, a lot of people probably don't know, I like Sauron. Maybe because I like dinosaurs. Maybe because I like the color green. I like Sauron. So seeing Sauron there as a boss, X-Men 97 is making all friends along the way. There was the streets of New York with the Sentinel stuff. Asteroid M is the final level, I believe. Am I missing any levels? I don't think I'm missing any levels. But in the Genosha level, which she remembers when Trask pulled a bunch of mutants and made them make Genosha, there was in that background Sunfire. I'm pretty sure it was Kitty Pryde. It looked like Kitty Pryde's blue outfit from the 80s. Blob, and one of the Proud Stars. I'm gonna assume that it wasn't Thunderbird, because technically Thunderbird would be dead given the time period, but one of the Thunderbirds were there. And then when Mojo talks about video games are the new mind-numbing thing, which is kind of funny given that was the talk that we all heard in the 90s. Funny that nowadays you can make money playing video games. Take that, old people. Take that, boomer. I loved the freaking TV show parodies. Mojo, who is an interdimensional being, not a mutant, but he always messes with the X-Men. He's skinny in this one because he hasn't been able to eat. He feeds off of views and things like that from his slaves, or should he say captive audience. And just the jargon. He's going to get the 18 to 45 demographic for if Jubilee does the video game thing, which is funny because this show is technically made for 18 to 45 demographic, if we're going to be honest. The parodies. Let's start. Who's the boss? Who's the boss have Charles, Jean, Cyclops, Magneto, and Storm. Storm's obviously, she's not smiling. She's rolling her eyes. The one that made me flip. I was about to use a wrestling term. Wrestling term is pop, which makes you, when you get a reaction out of somebody. The Different World parody. It's a Different World. One of the best college shows ever. If you've never seen it, please find some place that streams it and watch it. Very influential. Spinoff from the Cosby Show. Fantastic show. This parody was so great because it even says it's a different world. They didn't even change it. Just says it's a different world, and it's all of the black / non-black characters of color that are in here, just like the show. You got Bishops, Sunspot, Jubilee, Storm, Morph, Northstar, Rogue, Forge, and Gambit. Now, Northstar, he's part of Alpha Flight. He's the first gay character to have a gay marriage in the comic books, and we all know that Morph, they are non-binary. So that is also it's almost an in-joke within an in-joke because the show promoted so much. It just shows so much color, so much different people going through college and learning how to navigate this world. The poses that all these characters struck are the poses that the character struck from It's a Different World. Like having Rogue, I'm pretty sure Rogue was supposed to play Whitley, and that's what makes it so funny to me. Forge was probably going to be Dwayne Wayne. Oh man, I'm gonna rewatch this episode tonight before I go to bed because it's so good. And then you got Divorce Court, Summers versus Gray, pretty much hinting that that's probably what's gonna happen to Jean and Scott. I mean, makes way for Emma Frost. So hey, just funny enough, Scott and Jean do not show up in the beginning when it comes to celebrating, telling Jubes happy birthday, because they have gone to the UN to do all these talks for Genosha because they're trying to make Genosha a mutant nation, a recognized mutant nation. This episode was just fun. So much fun. Like, them going through the levels, them fighting. You do get some interesting character development moments here. And I understood the conversation that old Jubilee had with regular Jubilee, even though I wasn't getting that Jubilee didn't want to grow up, but I do appreciate them having that conversation because you can tell Jubilee just wanted to stay in the game and just relive old stuff because she's unsure about the future, which is kind of cool. Well, not kind of cool, but it's kind of cool that you're able to draw that conclusion. Old Jubilee, in addition to doing that, funny enough, Jubilee saying Magneto's right. Old Jubilee is one of the Mojo had to do beta tests, right? And then these beta tests, they had digital versions of Jubilee and Roberto. This is one that escaped, was able to glitch through. She's older now because, hey, you're gonna age differently. But she shows Jubilee how she can use her powers, like dashing backwards with the pyrokinetic fireworks, making like destructo discs with them. Jubilee even does a spirit bomb. Like they hold hands for a little bit and she does a spirit bomb. So that's what that is. My homegirl Spiral. You can't have Mojo without Spiral. And I like the little, it looks like a sneak peek of Spiral kind of turning on Mojo. Because when Roberto and the Jubilees beat Mojo, and Robbie does use his powers. Initially didn't want to use them because just in case his mom would see it, because he's a little punk ass. We'll get to that in a second. After Mojo kind of gets fried, she pushes him over. I do like her banter with him going, you shouldn't have fired the devs. Well, they didn't patch this. She's telling her to patch everything, which was funny. I really enjoy Spiral in the I don't remember what volume of X-Force this is, but it's the Psylocke-led X-Force. The last time, in my opinion, Storm's Mohawk looked really good in comics was in that part. We're coming off of the whole AVX and the schisms and all that other stuff, right? But Spiral was a bit of a hero. X-Force is technically anti-hero, but she was a hero in that, trying to save this girl with drugs and blah, 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 blah. I recommend everybody to look it up, look it up and read it. Pretty sure there's a trade paperback that's out for that, but fun. And I hope this is hinting at Spiral going, yeah, I need to break free of this. Part of me kind of believes that Spiral allowed for the glitch older Jubilee to exist because she wanted to mess with Mojo. Now, Roberto, he's an idiot. The two most annoying characters for me are Morph and Roberto. And I do love that Morph gets shut down here. Because when Magneto's being all gruffy about Jubilee celebrating her birthday, going, she can celebrate more birthdays if she lives longer. They say, oh, looks like someone didn't get a pony for their birthday. And Magneto calmly says, my parents perished before my 18th birthday. Morph had nothing to say. Yeah, Morph, shut the hell up. Shut up. Everything cannot be a joke, Morph. I get it. Actually, Morph, you were doing jokes before Sinister had messed with your mind a little bit. Chill. Read the damn room. Read the room before you get read. Roberto being number 2, because he and his mom saw I think it was it Genosha, the asteroid M thing. And he's like, I can tell she was scared, but she's pretending to be brave. And I said, oh, those evil mutants, they'll get theirs. I was pretending to, hate mutants. Pretending. You hate yourself. You have tons of self-hate, fool. And his mom said, well, I'm pretty sure there are some good ones too. And he's like, but I'm sure she was just blah, blah, blah. And I told her, no, they're all bad. And it's like, are you stupid? Are you fucking dumb? Pretty sure your mom knows that you're a mutant. I'm willing to bet money. I'm 100,000% sure she already knows. And whatever episode we get where he finally goes, however you say mom in Portuguese, Mom, mutant. She's gonna be like, yeah, dummy, I knew. I've always known that. Where do you think you got your mutant powers from? Probably from her parents, or one of her parents, or one of her grandparents. You dumbass. Just Roberto being skittish about having abilities, or his mom knowing. It's annoying me because of the type of character. He's so cocky, but he has that. I get it's part of his character. I get it. I understand it, but it still annoys me. But this episode was fun. This part of the episode was fun. So we're going 3 minutes over talking about all this Easter eggs and stuff in here. Let's go ahead and. When I said when I said those characters, I said Jubilee, Roberto, Colossus, Magic, Blank Space, Cable. I don't know if I mentioned Cable was in there, but Cable was in there. Mojo was skinny, became fat after eating. They beat him, blah, blah, blah. Let's go to Lifedeath Part 1. Oh, and there was an old X-Men cab Mojo had broke through. And for Extra Life, it was Extra Life. Get it? You get it? Extra. Everything with X-Men. Extra Life. Yeah, Extra Life. Yeah. The passage of time in Lifedeath is a bit weird for me because I don't know how long Storm Aurora has been with Forge. I have no clue how long they've been, but I'll heavily assume that they have been together for a while now. And this is ripped straight out of the comics. This is taken from Lifedeath of the comics, which involves Storm and Forge having a deadly secret that he kind of had a hand in her losing her abilities, because this happens in the episode as well. His schematics for the collars leads to the dude doing the gun thing, which makes her lose her powers. He never intended for all of this because some Scotsman, I'm guessing it's Trask, saw his rough sketches and, worked from there. And the thing is, Forge is a former soldier. That's how he loses his arm and what hand is it? His right arm and right leg. they don't say it, but he lost it in Vietnam, just like the comics. So he's like, I'm a soldier. There was a war, Vietnam War. So these two are bonding. This is heavily character-driven, emotional part of this episode. 110%. Even down to the I don't want to say the fight that they have, but straight down to that. Because if you look at some of the panels, just look up Lifedeath X-Men. You can look at 6 panels from it, and a lot of the dialogue is taken from that, which I love dearly. Even got Forge declaring his love for her. You know, he made her bison chili. He made her his mom's bison chili. Forge is Native American. On his land, they're riding horses. And, you know, his ability is he can build anything he can think of. Now, what is the one detriment of being able to build whatever you can think of? You are limited to what the technology is at the time, and you're limited to what technology you have available. Remember, he's not rich. He coming out of the war. He was bitter. He was hurting. But I do think part of his sensibility kicked in where he didn't give them like a fully functional one. He just did what he could to get money to get the stuff that he needed to make things, which is a very interesting power when you think about it. Just being able, if I have an idea, I can make it and it'll work. That is super cool. But when, you know, Storm was talking about, well, it's great that you can use your gifts to fix yourself. You know, I know you're trying to use them to fix me, but I don't think she's lost a lot of hope. She's very down and depressed. We even see when he figures out after they go on a ride, they go on a ride on horseback, and their ride makes him think it's not that I need to reverse engineer the thing that turned you into this. I need to think of the radiation levels and blah, 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 blah. And when she tries to do the, you know, winds heed my commands, she breaks down and cries. You know, she thought she was moving, and no, it was just the birds. But, you know, Forge makes a point of saying, you know, I adapted and I moved forward. You know, he lost his arm and everything. Well, I'm thinking of super cool robot arm. All right, now that I have all this stuff, let me make the super cool robot arm. Tells her that he loves her after she, you know, finds out that he had a hand in making those things, because we see a red and yellow Iron Man-ish colors, actually collar. And it smacks her. You know, I really enjoyed the goddess speech he gave her, if you will indulge me. So he tells her that she is a goddess regardless of her powers. He just wish she would see that. That's some good emotional stuff. Folks don't, a lot of newer fans, I'm gonna call them newer fans, because a lot of people claim to be fans and they just, especially if you call X-Men woke, you're dumbass. It's been woke. You're trying to say woke in a different context. I'm not even gonna get into that. But the romances, especially when it's not always centered around the Scott, Logan, Jean triangle, the romances are so nice. As a matter of fact, I skipped over a thing that dealt with romance in the Motendo episode, where it's Magneto, Rogue, and Gambit. Rogue literally between them. And Gambit's trying to give her a pot of coffee. And she goes, well, you're kind of late. You know, our new boss already beat you to it. And he's like, 3 sugars, right? With his little magnetic powers putting sugars in there. He's like, well, you can give me a cappuccino. I give orders. I don't take. It's just, they're going to fight. And it's going to happen. And I can see Gambit beating his ass. By the way, if you don't think Gambit is strong, you should really look into his comic history. He had to nerf himself. That's how strong he is. It's the reason why he was Apocalypse's Horseman of Death for a little bit. Now back to this romance. Just when it's not focusing on the redhead and the Cyclops, it's great. It's great. I'm happy to get something new and something that's very comics accurate with its own twist in it. So she tries to leave, and she gets stopped by a villain that I'm pretty sure not a lot of people know about, who in the comics is also kind of Forge's fault, called the Adversary. I will show you a picture now. Adversary looks like this in comics. It's pretty. I think this is Chris Bacala art. It also looks like this. The Adversary, just like Forge actually says in the episode, is a demon. It says, leave my house, demon. He inadvertently summoned it because he has shamanic background, did some dealings with someone. They conjured up this thing, and it's evil. Because when Storm is running away, these red eyes see her, and somehow she goes from riding a horse to being thrown through the roof of the house. And he's like, I was just coming up to stop you. What the hell is going on? And the adversary comes around just all creepy, is an owl. And Storm had made mention earlier about an owl that's stuck there. And it's because of the winds. The winds here, they create this and this. No, that owl's just there because that owl wants to feeds off of misery. It's been feeding off of Aurora's misery of not being able to fly and feel the winds. And once of the adversary easily dispatches a force, just, almost just evilly embraces Storm. She says, "Is this death?" He's like, "No, not death, but it's much more than that. It's haunting." And actually, let me just go back. Oh yeah, the owl thing bit him. He had a little spindly, spidery thing. But she goes, "This is death," and it embraces her. And same voice actress as Storm, and says, no, she lives trapped here, haunted, suffering, depriving, and he feasts on misery, or it feasts on misery, and it is the adversary, and it's not going to waste a meal. So what's going to happen now in the comics? In order to actually beat this thing, you got to have 9 willing sacrifices. The adversary was in Roma's dimension because it can hop dimensions. It's a super powerful demon, and took over Roma's spot. Well, once, the X-Men, 9 of them willingly sacrificed their lives to kill this thing, Roma was like, nah, you're alive. So, are we going to get a Roma cameo? Is that going to happen? Because if you do a Roma cameo, that means we're etching into Excalibur. If we're etching into Excalibur, are we getting Betsy Braddock Psylocke? Are we going to get Kawanan Psylocke? Are we going to get Megan and Captain Britain? Is that how Nightcrawler's going to show up? Is Excalibur how that's all going to happen? That's just inquiring minds want to know. But yeah, I'm interested in how the rest of the team are going to go ahead and save Aurora, and by default Forge. Although I feel like his machine worked, and it's just the adversary stopping, like just mentally messing her up to keep her miserable. I'm pretty sure her powers do work, and it's just messing with her. But yeah, this part episode was really, really fun. I've seen some folks ask if X-Men 97 should adapt some of the modern stories, some stuff from the 2000s, the 2010s, the nows. I don't know how you can do Krakoa. I've seen X-Men 97 Krakoa. There is a version of that. But there's so many stories between... There's so many stories between early inception of the X-Men all the way till now. You don't even have to do the 60s stuff or the 70s stuff. There's still stuff from the 80s and 90s all the way up to that early I'll stop at 2010. There's so much stuff there. You don't really have to adapt any modern stuff. There's still 90s stuff. I still need to see Psywar. I still need to see more Shadow King stuff. Pretty sure there was Shadow King stuff in, the original, but this is far superior to that. Better storytelling. It looks better. All you naysayers before this came out, it looks better. It's better acted. It's great. It's fantastic. Give me more remixes of this. And if y'all gonna keep doing cameos, I know we got a season 3. Remember I told you I hope it goes to 5 seasons. They usually stop at 5 seasons. Y'all gonna start swapping around these X-Men, right? Or are you gonna start focusing on other X-Men? Because you got so many cameos of so many cool characters from that late 80s to the rest of the 90s showing up in here. All of that to say, this is 5 out of 5. Both parts are 5s to make a super 5. This is a straight 5 out of 5. This is great content. I really hope everybody's enjoying this. Let me know what you think of this episode in the comment section below. Fantastic. Oh man, Do not forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified of more reviews just like this one. I appreciate you all taking some time out to listen to me gush over X-Men 97. Please be good, be blessed. Wash those hands, drink you some water. Stay safe out there, okay? Be good to yourself, be good to others. Either way it goes, please don't be a jerk. And remember, there are people out there that care about you. Reach out and talk to someone. There are people out there that would rather talk to you today than to miss you and mourn you tomorrow. I guarantee it. Sooner or later, I gotta get an X-Men shirt. This Powerline 95, that's the closest thing I got at the moment. As a matter of fact, part of the questionnaire down there, who's your favorite X-Man? And if you could have a t-shirt of them, who would it be? All right. Until next time, true believers, I cannot wait to see how they get out of this one. Excelsior.